Well, discrimination against women in the workforce or society is wrong, period. And we ought to root that out. And we ought to apply the principles, allow merit in hard work and effective work to be rewarded on an equal level with men, period. The question is one, what is government's role in doing that? And secondly, does it, and how does it exist? I think Ms. Scott-Roth pointed out, as did Dr. Sherrill's report, that it is sometimes difficult to compare apples to apples. We have male-dominated industries and female-dominated jobs. You've got education, skills, tenure, workforce, a whole number of variables in it. And I want to get to the point about how that affects women entrepreneurs specifically. But I also want to point out the women in my district, and we meet regularly with our chambers of commerce, our small business groups, and they really sincerely today are most worried about jobs, the economy, and this debt in this country. I think today 90%, the latest poll I saw, 90% of Americans believe this economy is in bad shape and not getting better anytime soon. They raise real doubts and skepticism about the stimulus bill because it has lost, 3.5 million jobs now along Main Street since that was put in place. Almost every economist has downgraded our economic growth over the next year. In fact, at this level, it will take much of this decade to return to the unemployment levels of the Bush years. We have a bipartisan, I think, goal in getting this economy back on track. Back home, what I've seen over the last decade is a dramatic increase in women in leadership roles in the community, leadership roles in the business, and especially among small businesses, entrepreneurs. And all you need to do is go to any Chamber of Commerce meeting in any community, and you'll see that it is dominated by women small businesses. So my question to the panelists is, what studies have you done to identify how women in small businesses, entrepreneurs, owning their business, launching their small business, what type of equality occurs in the marketplace? You know, are consumers and clients rewarding small business run by women? Is there discrimination in that area? Have there been any studies done? I would open it up. I ask that because that's the growing area of job development and creation in the country. This is where I see major gains occurring. I want to see more of that occurring. Has anyone made some comparisons, identified those levels?
Is this on? Okay.
There you go.
A decade ago, I wrote my dissertation on gender differences in self-employment. So my data might be a little old, but I think I can speak to some of your part of your question. Self-employment and entrepreneurship, particularly among women, is really very varied, right? I mean, it runs the gamut from women opening hair salons in their basement to starting up businesses in the tech sector. What I observed in my analysis was that among those engaged in professional forms of self-employment, the highly educated and highly skilled, there were no gender differences in the impact of self-employment and entrepreneurship on family economics. Both men and women benefited from it. But among non-professional work, it's very different. So you have men opening businesses in crafts and trades such as plumbing, carpentry, sure, and those are pretty lucrative, whereas the things women are doing are not. And in fact, the motherhood penalty is even stronger among self-employed non-professionals than it is in the regular workforce. And there, that can't be employer discrimination because you are your own employer. I didn't study consumer discrimination, so I can't speak to that end of it.
But that data is a decade old?
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I appreciate the point you're making. I think the last decade's seen tremendous growth in women entrepreneurs. I imagine there are, if you're the mom and you run the company and you're taking time off for either for the birth or for those early years, clearly there will be an impact. I'm just curious, in the marketplace itself, has there been any studies on, do small businesses owned and run by women make less, generate more income, have greater profit margins, employ more, employ less? Do they have different policies for merit, and productivity in their own business? I just think these are areas, again, I see tremendous growth in this area. And again, discrimination doesn't belong in the marketplace, period. Just trying to get to that apples and apples comparison.